Now, certainly, it's really a lot better to be able to work with a leader that's not as stressed out, right? I mean, someone that has a positive attitude when they face a stressor, they have a can-do attitude, that we can do this, we can get it done. Those are the kind of leaders that employees love to work with at Edwards, and in fact help with our retention of top talent along the way.
Yeah. So I understand that the executive leadership team at Edwards must be really something special. I'd like to bring up the next graphic. It's making a point of diversity. Eileen, tell us a little bit about this picture before we turn over to Rob, and he will tell us about the Edwards Life Sciences Executive Leadership Team.
Well, this was a fun one that we created together, thinking about a culture where everything is very neat, everybody's sort of the same, they fit together, little squares perfectly, monoculture. And then the other side, of course, being all different shapes and sizes, and you have to work a little harder to fit those pieces together, and yet you have more flexibility. So really, as a metaphor, you have this, a wheel, something round that can move and is flexible with diversity. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Eileen.
Yeah.
So, Rob, how does this kind of diverse team impact the growth of a company like Edwards Life Sciences?
Well, it all starts with self-awareness, Maylene. I mean, it's really important that I'm aware of, as a leader, of what I'm strong at and what I'm not so strong at. And how that plays into diversity is when I have an opportunity to fill a new role, or when I start up a new project team and I have to put a collective team of experts together, I look at what I might be strong at and what I might not be so strong at, and make sure that what I'm not so strong at is complemented on my team, because that's really important, right? Oftentimes what people do is they want to hire someone similar to themselves, and sometimes that's where they get in problems. I would say that the number one slowdown for people's careers, and the same thing was true at Edwards, is the lack of self-awareness. So the lack of complementing yourself with people different than yourself, so that you could be even a stronger team than any individual came to bear.
So Rob, when we were talking earlier, you talked about human development as one of the key things that has been your passion, and that you saw becoming Vice President of Human Resources as a chance to show how human development could be integrated into the whole spectrum of human resource in a corporation.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and touch back on how trust played a role in human resource development in Edwards Life Sciences?
You look back at my career, before I took on this job, I was the head of the Global Baxter Institute for Training and Development. So I'm a development person. They asked me to come over and be this head of HR person. So I didn't have the deep knowledge in comp, benefits, payroll, recruiting that typically a head of HR has. And so I had to really practice this idea of diversity and be able to say, you know what? I'm going to be able to lead in the development of our culture and the development of our people and the development of teams. But I'm going to hire people smarter than myself that really have the expertise in those areas. And if I didn't do that, if I would have hired people like myself, all people that were into development and talent development, team development, that kind of thing, we wouldn't have got all the technical things done that needed to get done as an HR organization in a fast-growing company.
So we've talked about a lot of the insights and learning that both of you have had in this journey with Edwards Life Sciences. There must have been challenges. This was not just a bed of roses all the way. Would either of you like to say something about the obstacles you faced in this journey?
Oh, for sure there were a lot of challenges along the way. This is where this concept of diversity really comes in, right? It's not easy necessarily to bring in people who are different than yourself. I, for example, am an idea guy. If I would have brought in all kinds of people that were idea people, we would have never got anything done. So I had to surround myself with people who get things done. That's not necessarily the easy pathway to get something done, but it's this concept of go slow to go fast, right? By us working together collaboratively and understanding each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses, we were able to really get a lot more done than any one of us could do as individuals.
I am really struck by what you're saying, is that the very diversity allowed you to overcome the obstacles. And so you kind of make a strength of what other people consider, oh, we have to do this because it's by law. But you're saying, diversity allowed you to overcome challenges that would have been difficult if you'd been all of the same ilk.
It was key to our growth. It was key to our growth.
So let's turn back to trust. I'd love for you both to say something about the foundation of trust. What role does that play in the how of leadership?
Well, I've been observing this company and, of course, working with Rob. And I actually think Rob has just so many, like, sort of pithy, deep, and well-expressed gems of wisdom. And it's one thing to have aphorisms or phrases, but it's another to really see that in action. So the ideas of being vulnerable, of revealing oneself, of admitting your own weaknesses, understanding others. So these are words. On the other hand, we're seeing those in action. And so these are elements of trust, and it turns out that trust in the world of innovation and work are behaviors. There's specific behaviors that people are practicing. And what we saw was that this could be ingrained in a company and become part of the culture and part of this innovation engine. And it turns out that all that we heard growing up about being kind and being fair and being open and being clear, I mean, it's very direct culture as well. It's all true. It works.
I am just thrilled to hear this. So, Rob, trust.
Trust, I mean, it was just the absolute foundation of our company, right? I mentioned, or you mentioned earlier, that we make technologies that go inside human beings. It was really important that I created a culture, or helped work with other leaders to create a culture where people were trusted to do things right in a quality way. All it would take is one person to slip up on that, and potentially we have a product out there that goes into a human being and fails, and we have a death on our hands. That would be terrible. And we tried our best to always be working with people to say, do things in ethical ways, don't skip steps for speed's sake, make sure that you're doing things in a quality way. And we had to trust them to do that.
This is wonderful, because Edwards Life Sciences is on the frontier of the new kinds of companies that are coming out as we understand much, much more about the human body and how we can prolong life and increase our quality of life. It reassures me to know that trust is a critical element of any company working in the life sciences, and that the two of you have come together to write this book to make sure that people understand that this is so important, and it's not that difficult. These pictures make it clear. So let's wrap up. Rob, what's next for you?
Well, you know, first of all, I'm spending more time with my family. When you're in part of this crazy executive world, you know, certainly I got a lot of things to rewind here and really be a part more of being a dad. Secondarily, you know, I was just so fortunate to be part of a company where we got to create almost like the gold standard for cultures that really enable innovation. I think now it's time for me to get outside of Edwards and be able to share that, whether that be through coaching or mentoring or doing some speaking engagements at other companies.
So how would you help other organizations learn from what you have done?
You know, I mentioned, you know, I've started my own consulting company now. I do some coaching, some mentoring, and, you know, a little bit of speaking engagements.
Okay. Eileen, what's next for you?
Well, we're working a lot on the book and getting it out there, and then our next book will probably have to do more with visual language and also on, of course, more on trust building exercises.
Thank you, Eileen, for being